You hear me? Okay, great. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for tonight. And I'm going to butcher your last name. I apologize. Mark Girardeau. He runs the Orange County outdoor Orange County. Thank you. I just read it and I know I was going to get it wrong. Amazing photographer, videographer, incredible YouTube channel, and he'll be our speaker for tonight. So welcome.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for having me here. First of all, so yeah, a little bit about me. If you guys don't already like see what I post online and stuff, basically, I just love wildlife or anything nature, and I kind of try to specialize in Southern California, kind of whatever goes on. Anyways, a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Torrance, California. If you guys know where that is, it's just in LA County. That's where I'm from. Moved to Orange County in 1998 when I started high school. And my dad got me into photography then, so learned how to shoot on film and develop film and all that stuff. I've always loved snowboarding, so snowboarding has been my passion since like 1995. So I've been doing it since then, and then in 2014, my dad passed away from brain cancer, and I had like taken care of him for like 3 years. So really after that, I just kind of like wanted to get outside and explore. So I went and hiked Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak in the continental United States. So I think it was like 18 hours it took to hike, just straight hiking. So anyways, I just felt the need to get out, and I just started venturing around and really picked up photography. Before I just basically done a lot of snowboard photography and stuff like that. And then in 2014, I just felt the need to just start shooting wildlife. Since I was born, I've always been into wild animals. Like that's just been my passion, watching Animal Planet. I don't watch sports or politics or anything like that. I just do like animals, so specifically wild animals. So anyways, I've always loved wild animals, and since I got more into photography in 2014, basically with a better camera and a telephoto lens, it's enabled me to share my passion with the world of wildlife. So basically everything I've learned, I'm now able to share it because of photography. So in 2016, I created just an Instagram account and a Facebook account called Orange County Outdoors, just because I wanted a way to share stuff with Orange County about all the wildlife, because there was nothing, like when I tried to look up information about what kind of animals we have here in Orange County, there's nothing. Nobody has anything talking about the animals here in Orange County. So I figured I'd just make a website, Instagram, stuff like that. So anyways, I just try to post on social media and just educate people about all the animals that we're fortunate to have here, which we have a lot of cool stuff. So everything in my presentation tonight is strictly in Orange County. I don't have any photos from outside Orange County in this slide. So anyways, we'll just start it. So a few of the topics I have, I'm going to talk about some of my trail camera stuff and some of the stuff on the boat with whales. One of my subjects I like is what I call impossible shots, because when I post these types of photos, I get a lot of hate because people think they're fake. Anyway, they're just unique perspectives with a telephoto lens called lens compression. So if you guys have telephoto lens, you guys might line up some cool shots. So I just call them impossible shots because a lot of people get mad at me for posting them, but I'm just going to show some of them. So this is a cool shot. This was taken right off the coast of Newport Beach. It doesn't look like it's Newport Beach though, right? But that's Mount Baldy in the background, San Gabriel Mountains. I got lucky with this plane lined up, but what happened here, we were actually watching some whales right here off Newport Beach, and this was several years ago I took this picture, and I just saw that the pier lined up with Mount Baldy, so I just pulled out my telephoto lens and shot a picture of Balboa Pier with Mount Baldy, and then I totally forgot about the picture. I think like a month had passed by, and I just randomly saw it again, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, maybe I'll post it. And then I didn't even realize there was a plane in my picture because it was so far away. I had to crop it in and stuff. Anyways, I posted it, and everybody loved that photo, but I just thought it was cool because it shows the Southern California lifestyle. We have the ocean, we have the mountains here. Here's just another perspective of Newport, Fashion Island, with the mountains there. But I love these photos because it's just a unique angle, and in order to get this photo, you have to be on a boat. You can go to one of the piers and look back and see the mountains sometimes on a clear day, but when you're on a boat, once you go a couple miles offshore, it basically makes everything get smaller and makes the mountains get bigger. So this is the Hyatt in Huntington Beach with the mountains behind it. It looks completely fake. It's not fake at all. It's completely real. On these days where it's super clear, basically once we get the Santa Ana wind events and we get some snow on those mountains, the air is just super clear. So if you go offshore, it's really cool looking. This is another shot. This is Newport Beach here with Mount Baldy. And it depends how far you are from the coast. Once you go several miles out, all the houses get smaller and smaller. Once you get a little closer, it doesn't look as big. So it's all perspective. If you're standing on the beach right now, it does not look anything like that. Nothing like that. So once you get a few miles out and just zoom in, it looks like that. But here's Huntington Beach Pier with Mount Baldy up there on the left. But yeah, super cool. And like I said, if you're on the pier, it does not look like that at all. So, but you have to be on a boat a couple miles out. So this is a really cool shot. I don't know if you guys recognize that's the Hollywood sign right there. It's obviously not sharp. You can barely even make it out. But this intersection right here is Pacific Coast Highway and Sea Point Drive in Huntington Beach. So I think it's like 40 miles or something. But yeah, so you can see the Hollywood sign from Huntington Beach on a very, very clear day. It has to be extremely clear, but it's not the sharpest photo, but like I said, all these photos are taken from Orange County, and that's the Hollywood sign, so I just thought it was super cool. This is another shot. I shot this from Mission Viejo. You can see the Hollywood sign, Griffith Observatory, and the LA General Hospital all lined up there. It's not a very sharp photo, but I shot that at 1,000 millimeters. So I had a 100 to 500 millimeter lens with a 2x teleconverter. But it's just cool that what you can see on a clear day just by looking around. Here's a shot of downtown LA from up on Santiago Canyon Road, so kind of near Irvine Lake. But downtown LA looks very clear. This was an extremely clear day, which is pretty rare. But anyways, these houses in the foreground are orange hills. So, but I just thought it was super cool. It's just those perspectives. This is kind of a dark shot, but there's Angel Stadium with downtown LA. So it's kind of the Angels. I still call the Angels the Anaheim Angels. Everyone else, or they call themselves the Los Angeles Angels. So this is kind of cool because it shows the Los Angeles Angels because there's downtown LA. Yeah, the California Angels, their original name. I like that one more, actually. So this is a cool shot of the moon with Santiago Peak, which is the highest peak in Orange County at 5,683 feet. So there's an app you use. I know you're talking about some of the apps you use for stars. There's apps you can use to line up the moon with certain subjects. So it's called the Photographer's Ephemeris. That's what I use to line up moon shots. It tells you where the moon's going to be. So you can line up the moon coming up right over Santiago Peak. So that is a real shot, and this was also shot at 1,000 millimeters. So it makes the moon look very big, and everything else in the foreground looks smaller. So basically, it's just a matter of going far away and zooming in. Yeah, you had a question? I think this was shot from somewhere in Lake Forest, like the Lake Forest Sports Park or something. But I shoot at different spots all the time. I have a lot of photos of Santiago Peak with the moon because some nights there's a lot of distortion in the air, so I'll shoot it, and I keep thinking something's wrong with my lens, but it's literally just stuff in the air being dirty or whatever. But I shoot it all over, so every night's in a different spot. There's not just one spot. So like if the moon were to line up tonight, tomorrow night would be a totally different spot. So I kind of just go all over. This is a cool spot, cool shot. This is moon here, and if you guys see that thing in the middle, it looks like a TIE fighter from Star Wars. It's actually the International Space Station. This is a pretty difficult shot to get. It doesn't happen very often where it crosses. But we knew this was going to cross. Me and a couple friends just went up on a hill, and we knew exactly when it was going to happen. And you can't even see this with your eyes, so you literally just fire off. I probably took like 100 photos in a row, and didn't even know if I got it until I looked back. But we knew exactly what time it was going to cross in front of the moon. There's a website called Transit Finder, and it'll tell you when the International Space Station will line up in front of the moon, depending on your location and stuff like that. So you have to know the exact time, and basically you just take a bunch of photos and just hope you get it, or you can roll video. Anyways, if you don't know about the space station, there's usually, I think, 7 people on board. It travels at 17,500 miles an hour, and it's basically in a constant state of free fall, just traveling around the Earth. So super cool. I think it circles the Earth every hour and a half. So yeah, super cool. This was at 1,000 millimeters as well. Okay, so camera trapping, that's one of the things I really love doing. I have, between my fiance and I and my friend Rachel, I think we have like 60 cameras out in the wilderness. Not all like this. Most of them are like trail cameras that are only about like $200. So a little cheaper than these, but obviously we've been collecting these cameras for, many years. Just over 10 years now. I have 4 of these setups. So this is what I have in here is a Canon. I have a Canon 70D in each. Well, most of my cameras. One of them is a mirrorless setup, but we have a Canon 70D, and everything's run off Sony batteries. So the camera's Canon. We have Sony batteries because for Sony you can buy the really big batteries that power everything, and then we have Nikon flashes. So it's kind of like a hybrid setup. So, and I go through a lot of flashes because they get ruined with the rain and stuff like that. So I always have to keep buying our used ones. All the newer flashes, the capacitors are slow to generate the power. So the only flashes that have the fast capacitors are the older Nikon SB28 flashes that were made in I think the 80s, and they don't make them anymore. But none of the newer flashes can handle, just being able to fire right away and just being on standby for a couple weeks. So basically, with camera trapping, I have a motion sensor, so everything is wireless. I have a motion sensor that's just kind of offset, and when an animal walks by, the camera will trigger flashes. This one is actually a video setup, so it has video lights. Inside this one, I have a Canon R, which is a mirrorless camera. And it can record video for about a minute, and it turns all the lights on, everything's wireless, and I have a microphone there. So basically my goal is to hopefully get mountain lions walking by and get color video, because otherwise the regular trail cameras are all at nighttime, and they're black and white because they're infrared. So this is a video setup here. But anyways, I'm going to go over some of my pictures that I get on the trail cams. So this is an opossum. I know opossums get like a lot of hate because people think they're gross and this and that, but they're actually very nice to have around. They are the only marsupial we have here, and they eat ticks. So ticks are, if you think opossums are gross, ticks are a lot grosser than them. So they do eat a lot of ticks, and they're actually really nice to have around. But anyways, it's a cool picture there. We have a skunk. So. We have 2 types of skunks in Orange County. If you guys didn't know, there's 2 species. I think there's like 4 or 5 species of skunks in United States, but in Orange County we have 2. So we have the striped skunk. This is the most commonly known skunk here in Orange County. They really obviously don't want anything to do with people. They don't go around spraying people. Some people think like, oh my God, a skunk, they're looking to spray people, but really that's their absolute last defense, is to spray you. They don't want to. So anyways, when the striped skunk sprays people, the way they do that is they turn around and, obviously just aim their butt towards you. Now you have the other type of skunk, a spotted skunk. These only get up to about maybe 1 pound, 2 pounds. The striped skunks get up to like something like 15 pounds or something, 10, 15 pounds. So these are smaller than a squirrel, or they're about the size of a squirrel. Their behavior is completely different. They just dart around all over the place, kind of like a squirrel. The way these spray you is they do a handstand. So they stand on their hands and they aim their butt at you while facing you. So I've gotten a couple of videos of it. They've tried to spray my cameras when they react to it. But anyway, super cute. Most people never see these. I've never seen one in person. I only get them on my trail camera maybe once every few months, if that. but they're super, super cute. Okay, bobcat. So bobcats, they get mistaken for mountain lions all the time, very, very often. Super cool cats that we have around. They're just, maybe 2 or 3 times the size of a house cat, but they just walk around and look for squirrels and rodents and stuff to eat. So, yeah, cool bobcat. Got a fox with a California ground squirrel in its mouth. Super cool. Gray foxes are the only fox species we have here in Orange County. I know there's random red foxes that are in some parts of Southern California that are not native, but gray foxes are the only native species here. They're also very elusive, so that's why we have to have camera traps to photograph them. If any of you guys have photographed a gray fox, consider yourself very lucky. So I've never been able to get a photo of one in person. So that's why camera traps are nice. So this is a photo of a mountain lion. I just got this one a couple months ago. This is a young female named Forrest, and this is a shot I was after for over a year. I've had a camera here, hoping to get a mountain lion on the log, and every time a mountain lion comes by, it would walk the opposite direction of the camera, and I really don't like butt shots of animals. So anyways, it was nice because I can tell the gender of all animals, who was a male, who was a female, but it's not stuff I want to post on Instagram. So anyways, this spot was funny because I changed the angle like 5 different times. The animals kept going the other way. Then when I put the camera on the other side of the log, they would start going the other direction. And it was just like this nonstop thing for over a year until finally she walked by with all my stuff. Or if they walked by facing the camera, one of the flashes didn't work or the motion sensor didn't work or something. There was always some issue. So this finally worked out very nicely here. This is a mountain lion. This is a female known as Honey, and she's one of the collared mountain lions here. I thought it was really cool because this reflection was here. We don't have a lot of water in Orange County. Obviously, it only rains once in a while, but the water is pulled up here, so I set up the camera and was just hoping to get a mountain lion. Kind of a butt shot, but it is cool just because it's a reflection. I was really, really stoked on that. This is her again, just during the daytime. Let's see. So this is one of my first like really good mountain lion shots I got. This was back in I think 2015 or 16. But anyways, this mountain lion known as Scar or El Cobra. He had 2 names, but anyways, he was a really cool mountain lion. He just kept getting into people's goats and stuff because people were irresponsible with their livestock or their pets in the canyons. Anyways, he would come by this spot once every 2 weeks. So he was on like a very, very nice routine. So I was able to go check on the camera and set it up almost a day before he would come by. So this time it was cool because he actually just grabbed a raccoon. When I went up to check the camera, I was really stoked. I could not believe I got the shot. So anyways, it's just cool to see what goes on at night when no people are around. So it's just this camera with the motion sensor stuff. But the thing about mountain lions too, a lot of people are terrified of mountain lions. I always try to educate people on my social media about, there's a lot more things that are more dangerous than mountain lions. Of course, they are dangerous, but only one person has ever died in Orange County from a mountain lion, and his name was Mark. So I don't think it's going to happen. It can't happen to another Mark. So. So anyways, when I go out in the wilderness, I know how to act around them. I've had 6 encounters with them now, and I've been able to. I haven't had any issues. I've had them a couple times about 5 feet from me, where I had to like fend them off and stuff. Not get in a fight with them, but basically just have to assert your dominance. Even though the mountain lion would win in a fight, you just have to act like I would win. So anyways. There's a lot of fear about mountain lions. Really, they just want to go about their lives. They don't want anything to do with people. So I try to educate people about that. There's more dangerous things out there like newts or snakes or bees or humans, the most dangerous thing out there. So anyways, birds of prey. We have a lot of cool birds of prey in Orange County. I'm sure some of you know that as photographers. I'm sure you guys have a lot of cool bird photos. So I love photographing birds of prey. I don't photograph little birds because I really don't know much about little birds, but birds of prey are really cool. Red-tailed hawks are the most common hawks we have here in Orange County. When you guys are driving down the freeway or the roads and you see a hawk on the pole, it's almost always going to be a red-tailed hawk. We also have red-shouldered hawks too, but they like to be in trees and stuff. We have Cooper's hawks, and check out those talons. Super cool shot here. This was in the Back Bay, Newport Beach. But super cool. These birds pretty much primarily eat other birds. So if you guys have bird feeders out and you see one of these hawks in your backyard, they're looking to get one of your birds that you're feeding. So yeah, they'll jump through, fly through the trees or whatever they have to do to eat a bird. Golden eagles. We do have golden eagles here in Orange County, although they're very rarely seen. I actually saw one a couple weeks ago and didn't have the camera with me, but anyways, this was several years ago. This was at Rancho Santa Margarita Lake, which is just down the road here. And this one had just finished eating a bird. You can see all the feathers on the ground. And I was walking around and I saw that bird there, and I just ran back to my car as fast as I could to get my camera and then come back, and it just finished eating the bird. But super cool. Yeah, we do have golden eagles. We also have bald eagles in Orange County. Some of you may have photographed bald eagles. I just took this picture about 2 weeks ago. We actually have, I think we have something like between 10 to 15 bald eagles here in Orange County any time of the year. Most people don't know because they're not seen very often. They don't fly very often. They're so big and heavy that really they just like to perch until they absolutely have to fly. So that's why a lot of people don't see them. But anywhere there's water, since bald eagles eat fish, they primarily eat fish. So you find water sources, you might be able to find bald eagles. We actually have 2 nesting pairs of bald eagles in Orange County that have been successfully producing chicks every year since, I think since like 2013 or 14 or something like that. So they're mostly in hidden locations, but they're actually more successful than the more well-known bald eagles up in Big Bear. So they just don't have all the media coverage. This is a female known as Lai. She is a bald eagle. She's a female that has successfully been producing chicks for a while now. I think she had 2 chicks this year. I think they're in the process of fledging right now. So anyways, but yeah, she has a fish in her talons there. But she actually came from Santa Rosa Island, part of the breeding program of bald eagles. If you guys don't know what happened to the bald eagles, back in the day, they almost went extinct because of DDT, which is a pesticide that was just dumped in the ocean off Palos Verdes and stuff like that. There's just millions of, or at least thousands or millions of barrels that are just down in the ocean of DDT that are still leaking out to this day. And because it's out of sight, out of mind, nobody really cares about it. It's just sitting down there, poisoning everything. Anyways, that got into all the fish, and bald eagles are fish eaters. So that's why it affected the bald eagles. And when they tried to lay their eggs, the eggs were so thin that they couldn't incubate them. So that's why the bald eagles almost went extinct. And then when the ban of DDT happened, the bald eagles were able to recover. So that's why we're seeing more bald eagles. So in Orange County here, we have more bald eagles now than just 10 years ago. So you can expect to see more of them each year. Barn owls, I think we have 8 species of owls in Orange County here. Some of them you can find easily, some you're probably never going to see. These are barn owls, and they get their name because they do like to hang out in barns and stuff. But anyways, super pretty birds there. We have burrowing owls. Burrowing owls are out in the daytime mostly, and they just like to eat bugs and stuff. But this was that Bolsa Chica, but cool little guy. This is a great horned owl, a very wet great horned owl, so that's why this owl looks funny. But this is the main owl you see in Orange County. Second is the barn owl. If you guys ever hear an owl outside of your house or something, if you ever hear the hoo hoo hoo, it's the great horned owl. That is the only owl that we have here that makes the hoo hoo noise. Every other owl has a completely different call. So the barn owl actually has more like a screech. So if you hear some noise outside your house at night that kind of sounds like a lady screaming, it's probably a barn owl. And we do have screech owls, although they don't screech. But anyways, this is the western screech owl. They're very difficult to find because they're very camouflaged. They usually just sit in trees, and you can look right at them and not even see them. Luckily, this one was kind of in the sunlight. But super cool, little tiny owls. So there's stuff on foot that I photograph here too, and I just walk around. This is just some deer. Obviously, a mom and her fawns. Mule deer are the only species we have here in Orange County. Pretty cool. Let's see. We have coyotes. I thought this was a cool shot because I have a friend that has a cattle ranch up near Cook's Corner, and he has cattle there, and the coyotes will actually follow the bulls around to feed on the squirrels and stuff that the bulls step on and trample, stuff like that. So the coyotes will just follow right behind the bulls and try to pick them off. And usually, the coyotes are obviously very skittish of humans, so I have to kind of like sneak up on them because they just run away every time. But anyways, I just thought it was a cool shot with the coyote there and the bull in the foreground. So rattlesnakes, we have 3 species of rattlesnakes here in Orange County. Southern Pacific, which is this one right here. We have red diamond rattlesnakes and speckled rattlesnakes. That's the only 3 species of rattlers here. And, you know, a lot of people have that saying, red to black is a friend of Jack. Red to yellow is a I just forgot what it is. Yeah, sorry. So anyways, that doesn't work for snakes in Orange County. It doesn't matter what the colors are. The only way is by their pupils. If they have vertical pupils, they're venomous. If they have round pupils, they're non-venomous. But I'm not telling people to get that close and observe that. If you see a snake, just let it be. So anyways, but yeah, you can also identify them by the rattles, of course, but the rattles are not always visible. They're behind bushes and stuff. But yeah, this rattlesnake was just tasting the air here. This is one of the other snakes, a red diamond rattlesnake. But very pretty. If you see them with the pink tint on them, that's a red diamond rattlesnake. So turtles. We do have green sea turtles here in Orange County. This was in the San Gabriel River, where there's actually a bunch of sea turtles. There's probably something like at least 50 of them that just swim around the San Gabriel River just off Seal Beach. We see them out in the ocean sometimes too. Randomly, we do have turtles here, although they don't come to land like in Hawaii, where you can just photograph them on the beach. But the San Gabriel River is not the prettiest place to see turtles. If you guys have ever been there, it's not the nicest place for turtles, but they are there. The water is warm and there's food for them. So it is a really cool opportunity to see turtles here in Orange County. This is the mule deer watching the sunset, which I just thought was cool. I just came up on a hill, and this deer was just right here. So had a cool photo before it ran off. Okay, bioluminescence. If you guys have ever heard of bioluminescence, it's when we have some plankton in the water that turns the water blue at night and just lights up. So it does happen in Orange County, and there's no better time of year. It's any time of year. We actually haven't seen it yet this year, but in years past, we've seen it any month out of the year. But we know when bioluminescence is going to happen because the water turns really nasty brown and red tide during the daytime. So we know when we see that, then we go back at nighttime and see if it lights up at night. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Anyways, it's a super cool phenomenon. This was here in Sunset Beach, but just really cool bioluminescence. Otherwise, you might have to go somewhere like Costa Rica to go see predictable bioluminescence, but we do get it here in Orange County. This is San Clemente Pier with some blue waves here. This is my buddy photographing it. But to shoot bioluminescence, it's tough because you can't do long exposure because the waves will just kind of wash out the blue. So you have to do kind of a somewhat shorter exposure, like a half a second at the most, and then you just have to turn your ISO up really high to shoot this. This is a video. I don't know if it's going to play. Well, I'll try it in a second. Anyways, this is dolphins swimming in bioluminescence, which is cool. Let's see if it plays. Maybe not. Oh, no, it's not going to play. Anyways, or do you know? There might be because I converted to their PowerPoint. That's all right. I wasn't sure that was going to work, but let me try it anyways. When dolphins swim through bioluminescence, they light up at night. So it's really tough to shoot. You have to do video, you have to be at 4K at 24 frames a second, super low frame rate, and you have to have the ISO at about 200,000, which is what you'd never shoot anything at, and it feels really weird to ever put the camera up to 200,000 ISO, and not every camera can do that. Only some cameras can do it, like some of the mirrorless cameras. But anyways, I'm not able to show that right now. So cetaceans, we have a lot of cool whales. Cetaceans are, whales and dolphins And we have a lot of cool whales off Southern California. We have so many people that live in Orange County that have no idea there's whales here. Like literally don't have a clue. There's 3 million people that live in Orange County, and probably, I don't know, less than half have ever been whale watching. So we get people that come out. I work on a whale watching boat on the weekends. I have a Monday through Friday job, and then Saturday and Sundays I work on a boat. So anyways, when I'm out there on the weekends, we get people out all the time that live locally and just didn't know there's whales here, like all the time, which is pretty crazy. But we're lucky enough to have whales year round. Sometimes a year it's kind of slow. There's not a lot of whales, but we do have whale sightings throughout the year. We have blue whales in the springtime. We have humpbacks in the summer. We have gray whales that migrate past, and we have fin whales and minke whales. So it's actually a great place to go whale watching here in Orange County. And we have dolphins all the time. So this is a common dolphin, one of several dolphin species we see here. And this one has a remora stuck on it. So people always wonder, why do dolphins jump? We have several reasons that we think, but we don't usually know exactly why each dolphin jumps. It's, whatever we think, like, oh, maybe it's play, maybe they're just having fun or trying to communicate. But this one was jumping because it was trying to knock this fish off it. So this one just kept jumping over and over and just belly flopping. And these remoras will stick themselves onto dolphins, sharks, whales, anything, just to kind of get handout. So when dolphins feed, this little remora will just kind of benefit off the food. So they can jump very high. This dolphin, I think, was like 15 feet up, very high in the air. A little tricky to photograph too, but also very fun. We have Rizzo's dolphin. So these dolphin here, very cool, especially if you're a photographer, if you get to photograph Rizzo's dolphin, because they're all scarred up and every single one is very unique with all their scratches. And these dolphin only have 4 to 14 teeth in their lower jaw only. So because of that, they're not able to grab fish. They only eat squid, and the squid fight them back. So that's why you see a lot of scars on them. Squid have very sharp beaks and long tentacles. So when they grab the squid, as they get older, the Rizzo's dolphins get more scars on them. But super cool dolphin. You kind of feel bad for him, though. Anyways, this is a Pacific white-sided dolphin. We only see these dolphins in the wintertime, but very pretty dolphin. They have a few different colors on them. This is called a false killer whale. Most of you probably had never heard of that, but the only resemblance they have to killer whales is their brain structure. But it's called a false killer whale. They're a type of dolphin that get up to about 3,000 pounds. And we see them here maybe once every couple of years. That's about it. So that's super cool. We also have real killer whales too. So this is just right off South Laguna Beach, and this is a large female killer whale, the alpha female of this pod. We do get killer whales randomly throughout the year. We had killer whales about a month ago just off Catalina Island. When they show up here, they're usually here to hunt dolphin or sea lions. But it's super cool. In case you guys didn't know, we do see killer whales here. This was just right off San Clemente, which is a pretty cool shot. So this is a cool spot. Cool shot. It doesn't look like Orange County, right? But it's like that lens compression effect from earlier. That's Mount Baldy in the background. And you can see Newport Beach in the background here, and this is a humpback whale. And it looks like this was in Alaska, but nope, you just shoot this right here in Orange County. Yeah, Fashion Island over there, a whale got the mountains. This was with a drone. So one of the methods I have to photograph whales is we'll send out a drone from the boat, and I've been flying drones over whales now since 2014, so about 11 years. And it's such a cool tool to see animals. We can actually find out if animals are entangled. So if we have whales that have ropes around them or anything like that, we can get those photos to a rescue team. They can usually get out that same day and help whales. So just because of photography and drone photography, it's actually helping the whales, helping them live when they get entangled and stuff. This is a gray whale known as scarback. He got shot with an exploding harpoon, probably in the 70s. And she survived, obviously, so it has a huge scar on her back. I've only seen her one time. I think this was in 2016, but I was able to get a drone photo of her. But it's a super cool whale. Gray whales actually make the farthest migration of any mammal on the planet. So they go about 12,000 miles every single year. And that's from the Bering Sea and the Chukchi Sea up between Alaska and Russia down to Mexico and then back up. And they do that every single year. So pretty crazy what these animals have to endure. And then have to be shot and stuff like that and still surviving. This is another picture of a gray whale breaching really close to the beach. If any of you guys are ever at the beach and you see a whale from the beach, it's almost always going to be a gray whale. They're shallow water specialists. They can go into as little as 5 feet of water, which is pretty crazy. They're really the only whales that go into that shallow of water. So this picture is funny too, because there's a guy on the beach to the left. There's a couple on the lifeguard tower. Neither of these people ever saw the whale. We were watching this whale. This whale breached like 5 times, and I was just thinking, like, how stoked are these people going to be on the beach? None of them ever saw it, never looked. So I just think it's funny because, you know, we'll see this like kind of often. Maybe not always breaching, but we will see whales come close to shore, and we'll see people on the beach just staring at their phones and stuff like that. So, but anyways, yeah, yeah, watching videos of whales. Like, man, I wish whales came by here. That would be cool. But anyways, it usually happens when you're not expecting it. This is the tail of a blue whale. So we do see blue whales here in Orange County, and they are the largest animals to ever roam the earth. So they're very special, very cool. They can get up to about 90 feet long. So they basically make all the whale watching boats look tiny, but they're very cool to see. And we actually are getting into our blue whale season right now, so we should start seeing them any day now. This is a picture I got back in 2015, still one of my favorite blue whale photos. I was on this boat here called the Nautilus. That boat is 72 feet long. That means this whale's like, what, 150 feet long, right? But obviously, they only get up to 90 feet long. This is just an effect. You know, it's just the perspective. So basically, I sent up the drone from that boat. Got the photo of the whale closer, so obviously it looks a little bigger, but this whale probably is around 80, 85 feet, something like that, so it is bigger than that boat that has, I think, like 70 people on that boat, and this whale still makes that boat tiny. So, this is a humpback whale. This is probably the favorite whale to watch just because they can jump. They don't always jump. They usually do it when your camera's down, or, you know, if everyone on the boat has like a dead battery or something, that seems to be when they jump the most. I can tell you from experience. Or if you look the other way, then they jump that way. So anyways, once in a while you get it. But anyways, this is the humpback whale. Pretty cool. This is a mom and a baby gray whale, or what we call a cow-calf gray whale. All of the gray whales are, well, we previously thought they were all born in Mexico. There's 3 lagoons that they go to where the water is anywhere from 3 to 5 feet deep, and they all go into these lagoons and give birth. Obviously, it's not the case because I shot this off Laguna Beach, and this is a brand new baby whale that's probably within 2 days old. Nobody has ever seen a whale give birth. It's never happened. Nobody's ever seen it. This is like pretty close to that because it's just a couple days old. I think one day, because of drones, someone's gonna probably get pictures or video of it happening. Hopefully in the next several years, we'll see. But anyways, it's just a tiny little baby gray whale, and it's very smooth looking because it doesn't have any barnacles on it yet. Gray whales almost look like rocks because they collect so many barnacles because they're the only whale that spends time in shallow water. So they'll collect barnacles and stuff like that. So, but super cool to see you. But anyways, their goal is to give birth in Mexico. They just don't always make it there. So their gestation period is 13 months. So it doesn't always time right with when they get down to Mexico. So sometimes they come out early. This is the tail or the fluke of a humpback whale. I'm sure some of you have seen humpback whales here and photographed them. Every tail of a humpback whale, the bottom side is as unique as a human fingerprint, so they can all be identified individually. And just within the last several years, there's a website that has a database called happywhale.com. And anybody can go on there and make a website. I'm sorry, sign up on their website for free and just make an account. And you can submit your photos and they'll tell you who the whale is. So because of photography, it's only because of photographers going out in different places and photographing whales, they're able to track whales and find out where they go. There's no trackers on the whale, so it's literally just up to photographers. So if any of you guys have photos of humpback whales, anywhere in the world, Hawaii, Alaska, different countries, whatever, just go on happywhale.com, submit your photos, and they'll email you and tell you who the whale is. And I'll show you the difference. So you can see this whale is mostly black with a bunch of white markings. Here's a different humpback whale, same species of whale, with totally different markings on there. Here's another one, totally different markings. You'll never see another whale in the world that has these same markings. Different circles, lines, stuff like that. This one actually got attacked by killer whales. All these lines on the outside of the tail, these straight lines, are the teeth from killer whales. This is a whale named Gollum. And this whale, actually I'll show you the next profile. So you can see all the markings. It has a big V shape on the right side of the fluke there. This is Gollum's profile on Happy Whale. And basically all of the sightings on the right there, you can see 34 sightings up in Central California there, 9 sightings in Southern California, a couple sightings down in Mexico, and this whale is usually seen down in Nicaragua. So this whale goes way down there. But it's basically just by photographers in each of these spots submitting their photos. So it's super cool. This whale is actually documented back in 1988, which is a very old whale because before the 80s, nobody was photographing whales. So it's very, very rare that you even have a whale that has been seen from the 80s. This whale could have been alive in the 1950s, you know, but nobody was photographing whales and submitting them. So if any of you guys have photos of whales, even on a slide from back in the day, you can go there and submit them and find out your whale's still swimming around to this day. But yeah, happywhale.com. This is a whale. This is a drone shot. This is a large female known as chompers. And for some reason, every time she comes up to the surface, she opens her mouth and chomps. Humpback whales don't have teeth in their mouth, so they don't have a reason to chomp like we do. They just have baleen plates in their mouth. They're filter feeders. But they think at some point in her life, she probably got entangled in rope and like something got messed up or something. So she always does that. And every couple of years, she's had a calf, and her calf learns the same behavior. So obviously, they learn a lot from their mothers. So every time she's had a calf, I've seen her with 2 different calves over the years. And every time she does it, the calf will copy her and just kind of chomp. So anyways, her name is Chompers. So a lot of the whales get names after their personalities or markings on their tail. This is her profile, so we know she's a female. Her first sighting was in 1991, and she usually goes down to Cabo, Mexico, and is seen in anywhere from Santa Barbara down to San Diego. But it's super cool. Check out this tail. There's not much tail there to be photographed, but this is a whale known as Top Gun. And I actually named this whale Top Gun because this thing has been attacked by killer whales. All these scars are all from killer whales. And obviously killer whales took most of this whale's tail off. I first saw this whale, I think in 2018 near Catalina Island. And while we were watching this whale, an F-18 flew over us a couple times, just circling around the island. So I just told our crew, I was like, let's name this whale Top Gun, because it looked like it had been some wars. Anyways, we submitted this photo. We didn't know at the time this whale actually came from Russia. So this whale, the first sighting was over here in Russia, swam all the way across the Pacific, which is very unusual. Our whales that we see here off the coast of California come from anywhere between Mexico and Costa Rica. So there's obviously a population in Hawaii too. Those whales go to Alaska to feed and then go down Hawaii to breed. But this whale was probably born in the Philippines, went up to Alaska, and that's where that whale was sighted, and then probably didn't like the fact that there was killer whales there. So it's like, screw this, I'm going to California, not realizing we have killer whales here too. So anyways, but yeah, very unique tail. But yeah, so all of you photographers, I'm sure some of you guys have photos of the bottom sides of humpback whale's tail. Go on Happy Whale and submit your photos, and you can contribute to citizen science. So super cool. So anyways, that's it for my presentation. Basically, I was just talking about some photos I've shot locally. So. And thank you guys for watching, and you can also join me on this little tiny boat right there. That boat is 36 feet long. I'm going to be doing a tour on June 13th just for the photo club, and I think they're going to be sharing a link with you guys how to book it. But June 13th, which is not this Friday, but the Friday after, and we're basically going to be going offshore, spending 8 hours on the ocean, leaving from Newport Beach, and we're just going to be going out there, probably past Catalina Island, and looking for blue whales, which is what this is right here. Doesn't mean there's a guarantee of blue whales, but last time I did this, at the last photo speech I did a couple years ago, we did find a bunch of blue whales, which is really cool. But we'll be looking for whatever's out there. If killer whales show up or humpback whales or anything, it's going to be specifically looking to photograph whatever is out there. But we will be targeting blue whales. And if you guys do join me, just so you guys know, there is a bathroom on that boat, so you don't have to go off the back. You can if you want, but there is a bathroom on board as well. Anyways, but we'll just be taking about 15 people on the boat. But we do these 8-hour trips randomly, but this one will be specifically for this photo club. So if anyone wants to join me, I'll be the naturalist on board. But it's a super fun way to see whales, and the entire day will be focused on that, just watching whales. So.